Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Tiger Minor Report recap podcast here at TigersMLReport.com. I'm Rahil Castillo alongside is Chris Brown and David. And we got plenty to get to this evening, so we'll get to it before that, though. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, wherever you listen to. And we have the top 25 done, completed. I'm working on the profiles now, so I wanted to give an example of how this will work out eventually. And I got a couple done, but it's like I said, just doing something from scratch for the first time is always going to be pain, not necessarily. Not pain, but a process, if you will. So, wanted to show everybody how this is all going to work. Who's watching us on YouTube? Thank you for watching us on YouTube, by the way. And shout out to a couple people out this weekend who made it out to go see Chris saw Chris yesterday, and also myself on. At Comerica Park yesterday, Joe was in town from Erie, and I was randomly walking downstairs. He's like, "Hey, hey, Rogelio," and we talked for a minute. So that's he was a guy over in our Slack channel or Discord channel, and then Adam, who has been a long time supporter of both podcasts, came by and said hi to you, Chris. So, and then of course there's Christopher in our chat. Good evening, Christopher, guy from right there, and. But yeah, it was good to see some people out this weekend. Bless You Boys had a kind of a get together of their fans, so that was cool to see some people out there. But this is what our profile is going to look like. So right now I have one up for Jackson Jobe, and we're just essentially putting the tool like fastball, slider, curveball, change, whatever they're pitching, and then I put the control, put that right there. And it's going to have all the various lists of ranked on prospects. So all these will be clickable. So if you go here and right now, there you go. So you can go there and it'll all be clickable. And then I'll show you the one I have up for. I do have only one for hitter wise, and that's going to be the guy we're going to be starting out the conversation with. And that is Kerry Carpenter, because he is at this point forcing the issue harder than ever. So actually, it wasn't. I lied. It was not Kerry Carpenter. I forgot who I had. Either way, regardless, the on the hitting side of things, we're working on that, and that's going to be done here shortly. But I have 3 down and 22 more to go. But if anybody, like I said, the list actually, I should put up the top 25 list real quick, because I had talked about that today too, about some of the things we've seen. So this is what the list looks like. So if you go through here, these will all be clickable links. Everybody can click on a profile and you'll get that, and then how they're acquired, you can sort through and what have you. So I just got to finish up this too. But yeah, here's the top 25 list, and we really don't plug the website too much, and we should. But yeah, the website's going to have some more activity going here in the next couple of days. So, all right, enough about that. But a lot to get to, guys. West Michigan had some new blood. Well, Izaac Pacheco and Jace Young were out there Friday, and we got to see them for 2 days. Well, Young for 2 days, and Pacheco for a pair, and then Pacheco had the day off today. And Kerry Carpenter had a grand slam today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the entire Erie taking a series in Portland. It was a big win. Lakeland doing well. West Michigan won the series, and come to think of it, all four teams in the minor league system won their series this week. Yeah, so props. And Erie's been playing very well, and West Michigan played really well too. So, but let's get to Kerry Carpenter, the Kerry Carpenter experience right now. He got walked today because teams are trying to pitch around him, and he's now got 30. He's got 30 home runs in the season. 30 home runs between AA and AAA, most out of anybody in the system. And at this point, fans are foaming at the mouth to have Kerry Carpenter up there. There's been things suggested. I've heard some things that he might be coming up soon. Who knows? I mean, today we saw during the Tigers game, Gas Cameron made a really bad throw in. So the defense out there in the outfield, I guess that's been a worry. And now, I mean, I think, gentlemen, I think it is the we've said this for the last couple of weeks, but we can't really go and sit there and say, oh no, he shouldn't be up here. He should be up here at this point. I don't know about you, David, but I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I know we throughout our run through the show so far, we haven't exactly toted Kerry Carpenter's defense very highly. But yeah, it's like he's certainly proved himself. I know I was cynical about it when he got called up to AAA in the first place, whether or not he'd be able to handle it. Because I know the strikeout numbers were high at Erie, but like, yeah, he's. I personally think he's done everything he needed to do. He's proven that he can take the next step. The question is if he would be able to handle big league pitching. But yeah, it's like when you're starting to see Tigers outfielders starting to range forward on deep fly balls, then you're like, huh, maybe we do need some help in the outfield. But yeah, that's what I think about it.
Chris, what about you?
Yeah, and in fact, he actually leads all of minor league baseball with 30 home runs now. That unless Moises Gomez or Jenkins and Noel hit a couple home runs today. Yeah, no, I don't know. I did not expect this when he went up to Toledo. We kind of saw this from Kreidler last year, where he was solid in Erie for most of the year and then got better when he got to Toledo. And who knows why that might happen. But yeah, the main thing I was not expecting was Kerry Carpenter to suddenly walk. He's walking at an above average rate now, which is just not something he's ever done in his career at any level anywhere. And yeah, and you saw the grand slam today was opposite field. He's got plenty of opposite field power. He will hit off lefties. He hit a triple yesterday and a home run yesterday, I think. It's I try to. We get every time we post a home run or anything he does, just dozens of people yelling, calling up, why isn't he up? We can't use this. He'll come up here and destroy. And I don't know if people don't understand that minor league baseball and Major League Baseball are different. That Major League Baseball is significantly harder. But at this point, it is like, yeah, what do you have to lose? I mean, he's got to be added to the 40-man after the season anyway. You're not just going to let him go. So, yeah, I understand them wanting to get at bats for some of the younger guys, but it's at this point, give him a chance, right? I don't see what good's it doing for him to be in Toledo right now, posting like 1,200 OPS. It's like,
yeah,
give him a chance, reward him if nothing else. So here you go, you're in the bigs now. Have fun. Hope you don't drown. That's like if you don't care about him that much, and it's just one of those weird situations. If he were a first rounder instead of a 19th rounder, he would have been up like 6 weeks ago, I think. But I was telling you guys before the show, I feel like the organization, and they, they have scouts, they have more information than we do, certainly much more information. They probably know how he fares against every type of pitch, every velocity, and things like that. So I feel like they've just been waiting for the other shoe to drop, is what I said to you. Like, I feel like they don't necessarily believe in him, but we're just waiting like, hey, it's going to stop working eventually, but it hasn't. It's only gotten better. So, yeah, I think we're going to see him soon.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. We get some good questions here. Night Owl 1978 will address your question shortly. And then we did get a question about who has the most raw power in the Tigers minor league system. And we saw an example of that today over the weekend in Lansing. But in his last 13 games, Carpenter has hit 340 with 3 home runs. He's driven in 6, and his walk to strikeout ratio, 6 walks to 8 strikeouts. That's pretty damn good. And you're wondering about, so what about WRC plus? Where would that put him? Well, that's a very good question that I'm answering myself. But he is, let's see here. Right now, he's got a WRC plus of 175 in that same time span with a walk rate around, you're looking at a walk rate around 10%. 10%. And you're talking about OPS? Yeah, it's over 1,000. At this point, look, if you're not getting anything from your major league club, and again, they have to. It's not like they can expand the rosters like they can in September. There's talk about, I think they could do the 27th man again, maybe. I don't know, but honestly, at this point, why not? Today the offense didn't score any runs for 9 innings. They had chances, and I think Green got thrown out at the plate earlier, but there's, as Chris said, Christopher said in the chat, who cares if he's not a highly touted prospect? You're right. It's usually not the ones that people tend to forget that prospect lists are just lists. We put out top 25 and there's debate and what have you. It's based off what we see. And it might not always be right. And it's okay to go out there. And I could say something along the lines of, like, for example, a guy I've been big on is Andre Lipsius, who's down in Toledo right now. He still needs a way to go hit for power before he becomes a major leaguer, but he might be a good utility guy. So everybody has their things, but with Carpenter, we were worried after Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson about, well, is everybody going to pay attention to the minors? And Carpenter has made it clear that he is not going away quietly. And yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him up. I would not mind. And when is that going to happen? That I don't know. So we'll see what happens here. And for Night Owl's question, real quick, he asked in the YouTube chat, after the season, do you see the Tigers spending money in free agency, or does Avila get fired and the team blow up? I think there's going to be changes. Whether it's Avila being fired or not, I think there's going to be some wholesale changes. We're starting to see some of the dead weight, but some of we saw some releases over the weekend, Chris. So you're talking about Borowski. We saw, was it Dylan? Who's the other guy that got released this weekend?
There were a couple of releases in Toledo.
Yeah.
Nivaldo Rodriguez got released. He was on the 40-man briefly. Brady Porcelli was released.
Porcelli, thank you.
He's one of the few guys. Not few. They've got like a half dozen guys left from the 2016 draft, and there were occasional rumblings about him maybe being a big leaguer because he was, he played all 9 positions, I think, at one point. But yeah, he wasn't a big league hitter, and you could see that pretty quickly in spring training. So it's a bummer this time of year, right? Some guys have been in the system for 5, 6, 7 years, and they're facing the new reality that they're not professional baseball players anymore. But got to make room for the new guys, and so that's the downside of us getting all excited about seeing new draft picks and stuff. It's like, oh, somebody's got to go.
And speaking of the drafts, by the way, the 2014 draft pick Derek Hill was claimed by Seattle, so the Derek Hill era is over, and it's unfortunate. And Seattle will find a way, probably use him in some way, shape, or form, where he's going to be a guy who can come off the bench, provide defense, as Chris said before. Just a good guy to have on your bench for defensive purposes. So, but it continues to be a bad string for first round draft picks so far. Not all of them, but pretty bad clip. So let's see what else is going on in Toledo. Spencer Torkelson for the week finished 7 for 26 with 2 home runs, a pair of doubles, and he had 2 hit games in 3 games against Iowa. Ryan Kreidler, speaking of which, who Hinch talked about possibly they want to take a look at him coming up here before the end of the year. 4 for 21 with a double and a home run. And Andre Lipsius, who I was just talking about, 1 for 15 since he's come up to Toledo. And yeah, he is 8 strikeouts so far, so it's going to take some time before he adjusts. Bless you. So, and then right now, left in the organization from that 2016 draft, as you mentioned, Manning, Funkhauser, Garcia, who started on Friday, and the Tigers had 13 walks. Jacob Robson, Zach Houston, who just got called up to AA, I think.
I think he just got called up to AAA.
Yeah.
AAA. Okay, so it's AAA. And Joe Navahan. So, yeah, the reliever shuffle continues. But overall, in terms of pitching performances this week, Chichi Gonzalez, 3 innings, 4 runs, 2 strikeouts, a pair of walks. Bo Brisky's rehab start. He will get some time in Detroit. Hinch talked about that yesterday before the game. They're just going to monitor his innings. Same thing with Joey Wentz, who will have a rehab start, I believe, on Wednesday for Toledo. So if you want to check out Joey Wentz in the Mud Hens game, do that. And Austin Bergner, his first start in Toledo, 5 innings, no runs, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. And former friend of the it's Daniel Norris. There we go. I was kind of trying to make something special out of that, but it was like, nah, I'm okay. 4 innings, no runs, 3 strikeouts in today's start. He started today, right?
Norris, yeah. It's 4 innings, 4 innings, no runs, 3 Ks. Not too shabby.
Yeah, I mean the Iowa team I don't think is terribly scary. They don't walk a lot. They don't have a lot of big future studs. But you can go and watch Bergner's complete start that we put up the other day, which is fun. It's kind of funny because he was good, except in the second inning with the bases over the full count, he tried to pick off the runner at first. Nobody was there. See, no one's home. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like he did that, and then Lloyd McClendon came out and was basically like tapped him on the chest. Was like, "You okay, dude?" Like he was nervous or something like that. And then he struck the dude out, like threw his fastest pitch of the day, which was only 93. But and that's the interesting thing about Bergner. And I don't know how much longer this is going to work, or if it's just going to keep working. He's 90 to 92 with a fastball, and he just gets swings and misses with it. Like it doesn't. Hitters don't barrel it up, so I don't know if it's got all the the modern characteristics people love to see, but it seems to work so far. And then he's also got a pretty nice slider and a good changeup, and he'll even mix in a curveball. So yeah, he's another interesting guy to watch going forward. I don't know if we'll see him in Detroit this year, but it wouldn't shock me if we see him next year.
Yeah, he was up last year. Was like 93, 95, right, Chris?
Yeah. He was throwing harder. He started in the bullpen last year, and they kind of needed emergency starters in West Michigan, so they moved him into the rotation. He and Brendan White, and his velocity's down this year, but he seems healthy, and he doesn't really understand why. And if the velocity comes back and he's still pitching, with the same secondaries and same presumably angle and spin that's bothering hitters, then he could be really interesting.
Did he lose weight? Do you know?
I don't think so. He might have. I have to look at pictures from this year and last year, but he was on the Dan Hasty the Road to Detroit podcast, and he was kind of confused by it, but he didn't seem too bothered by it.
Yeah, man, it's usually like I remember I used to have a lot of teammates where like you see them one season, and like putting it lightly, they had some meat on their bones, and they'll say, but then like they come back the next year and they're a lot more lean, and they lose like 1 or 2 miles on it. But I mean, yeah, it's like normally it's like it doesn't really. He's a perfect example of it doesn't really matter how hard you throw; it just matters of what you got when you throw it. It's like if you have enough spin on it and the RPMs are high enough, it's like hitters see and it looks like it's coming out of the hand straight, but all of a sudden it's going to be like right on your knuckles. So that's one thing you want to look at.
Well, it's a case like today, for example, Lansing starter was low or high 80s. That was it. But he was able to change eye levels pretty well, and he struck out 6 Whitecaps pretty quickly. It was lefty. He was changing, like I said, changing eye levels, but I thought he did a really good job of even pitching inside and getting West Michigan to kind of force the issue with him a little bit. So even the second time through the order, West Michigan had a little more success, but still, I thought he did a really good job. And again, not throwing very hard, but he was able to command where he wanted to go with it. So let's move on to Erie, as they were in Portland, Maine, for the Sea Dogs, which, by the way, I think that's a cap. That was one of my first fitted caps, like over 20 years ago, and I lost it, and I've been meaning to get one back. But they had a green P instead of the red P, so it was like teal. I think it was one of them. They were maybe a Marlins affiliate. I can't remember, or something. I don't know. Maybe they had a green. Anyway, so you got to flush out your system. So
take some supplements, and what do you know? It's weird.
Sawyer Gibson Long made his debut on Friday. A very good debut, and that's why ERA does not matter. Look at the FIP. Which was the case where people, as soon as the trade came out, well, you got an ERA of 7.37. But did you look at his FIP? Oh, FIP doesn't matter. Oh, okay. 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, changeup, fastball, and a slider. His fastball is where it's kind of his weaker pitch, but he has a really good changeup, got good fade to it, and a good slider, and pretty strong debut. Adam Wolf. Again, Adam Wolf's been coming on strong the last couple starts. 4 innings, 6 strikeouts, no walks. And Wilmer Flores looked a lot better in this start. It looked a little tired last time, but this start, 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And Ty Madden in his debut today, 4 2/3 innings, 4 runs, 3 4 runs, 3 were earned, 6 strikeouts, and 4 walks. It was an interesting debate about his fastball that I was having with Trevor, and agree to disagree on that. I just think he had one bad start, and I still think that Ty Madden is something to look at. He's already up in Erie. His fastball's come a long way since college. There was one issue with college. They fixed his mechanics, and to me, I'll start with you, Chris. I think Ty Madden is fine. I think he's just, again, it's just a matter of how he's going to adjust on this level.
Yeah, I mean, that's another. You can watch his start. Just uploaded it right before we started the show. You can see his outing, and yeah, I mean, the problem, the reason he fell in the draft was concerns about his fastball metric, right? That not necessarily the velocity, which was fine, like 92, 95, up to 98, 99 at times, but the shape of it, right? Like hitters don't have trouble seeing it. And that's been the case in the minors too, even though they changed they altered his arm angle and they changed his delivery. But at least so far, he's not missing bats, but he's mostly been missing barrels, right? Like, he was only giving up a handful of hits per month recently. And so you see him, he gave up 2 absolute mammoth home runs today. It's like, oh my God, one of them was like 459 feet, they said. But other than that, there was like maybe one other hard hit ball. And it was, a fair amount of soft contact, and he got a lot of swings and misses. I don't know. I just think there's still plenty to work with there. He's not terribly consistent in his fastball. He's praised the fastball still. Maybe that's just going to be his issue. Maybe he won't ever have good command. Maybe I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because they changed his mechanics. He's still trying to learn, to how to rein himself in a little bit. But I consider it pretty decent progress to get to AA in your first full pro year, and we'll see what he does in the upper minors. I don't, in my head I keep coming back to like comparing him to like a who is that, like a Kyle Gibson, like this is not going to be a star front of the rotation starter ever. He's going to be a guy who probably has to pitch to some contact. I think Kyle Gibson was a pretty heavy ground ball pitcher or whatever, but I'm trying to give you the idea of like a big guy who throws decently hard, but it's just not going to miss a ton of bats. But I think he'll be able to carve out a role as the back end starter. And that's all. Like, I think that's decent enough for a top 50 pick. We'll see. Maybe he'll get blown up in high minors.
Yeah, no, it's all you can ask for. David, what about you? What did you see in Ty Madden?
And yeah, I mean, it's you made a good point there, Chris, when you're saying like missing barrels rather than missing bats per se, because that could be a difference. It's like you brought up Kyle Gibson. It's like I remember his latter years in Minnesota. That's when he started learning the sinker. It's like I remember his earlier career, because Lord knows we've probably seen him pitch against the Tigers plethora of times. It's like I remember watching him. He always used to try and overpower guys with the fastball, but like he get lit up occasionally. But yeah, then he learned that sinker, and then all of a sudden he had that year that he had in Texas. He made the All-Star team, I think he did. But yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like you said he had 2 pretty big home runs in Erie. Yeah, it's like that could be the difference between like maybe just release points off on your fastball, and all of a sudden the hitter just picks up the seams early and be like, yes, it's time for dessert. And yeah, it's like spin is everything, and if you just throw off a hitter's eye level just right, it's I wouldn't mind seeing a pitcher that could throw ground balls like crazy. If you're getting outs, then that's awesome. It's like if we can get a guy that could throw a bunch of Maddixes, that I would like that.
Well,
I wouldn't expect that. He did walk 4 guys today, so like he wasn't. I just thought, I saw flashes from his slider, and I think he threw a couple nice changeups we haven't really seen all year. So I don't know. Like I said, it's progress to me.
No, and that's, to me, the thing is like I remember in the early 2000s or early 2010s, mid 2010s, we had the sinker ball. The sinker ball pitcher was in fashion, and I remember a guy like Russ Ortiz. Remember Russ Ortiz, Chris?
Yeah.
That was a guy who pitched to contact, and he had he had to have pinpoint accuracy, and same thing with Yar Jurgens, the former Tiger prospect, and that might come into fashion again. I don't know, but it seems to be like, and John Smoltz talks about it endlessly every time he's on pitching the contact. That's what the old guys do, and yada yada yada. But there's something to that. You let your defense do the work, and that's why FIP and those things are kind of important versus a number like ERA down in the minors. So, for example, somebody like Long, when you look at his numbers, at first glance, it just doesn't look. But then you realize, like we've seen on Friday night, in Lansing, minor league defenses are not consistent. And they don't. I mean, that was an 11-9 game, and again, it was the first. I kid you not, like the last 4 or 5 Friday night games we've gone to in Lansing, it has been a shootout of offense and just bad defense. And so you got to take that into consideration. But pitching to contact is not a bad thing. If you have a good heavy sinker to that, you can let your defense do the work, especially with the shift changing next year. That they'll play. So I think there's something to that, absolutely. As far as the offense goes, Winfield Perez back. He came off the DL on Friday and hit a home run today. He had a double and a 2-hit game in 2 of the games, including today. And he's just picking up where he left off. His back is kind of a lingering issue, so something to look out for. But again, I think he's going to force himself on the 40-man roster. He's also another one they have to make a decision on. And as far as there was a question out there, Steve Cook asked about him playing in Toledo this year. I don't think he will, because the Perez will be good for the run for Erie in the playoffs, A, and B, they have kind of a backload of infielders right now in Toledo. So they have to figure out what they're going to do with Kreidler. If Kreidler gets a call up, then, maybe Perez will. I don't know, but I think to move up 3 levels in 1 year would be impressive. But come to think of it, Chris, has anybody, or David too, anybody moved up 3 levels this year I can think of?
Up 3 levels. So Perez was in high A, and then he would have gone to double A and then triple A. Let's see. There probably has been an org guy like Gardea.
Yeah, Gardea, yeah. But that's not, that's like filling in the blanks kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's been promoted twice yet. So that we got Meadows and Perez got promotions. Lipsius got a promotion. Carpenter did.
Flores did.
Where did Dane Myers start the year?
Dane Myers was in double A. He then moved up to triple A and then came back to double A. Holton, I think, was very briefly in Erie. He came back to West Michigan. Yeah. I don't think anybody's jumped up 2 levels yet. I don't know if we'll see it at all this year.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe somebody from the minors to the majors. Did anybody come from double A and then triple A and then the bigs?
No.
Yeah.
That's all been. It's been a lot of traffic on 75 from Toledo, but that's about it. And knowing that, I was gonna say. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean the last guy. Honestly, if memory serves, the last guy I remember happening that to was Tyler Collins. I know that's a name. That's kind of a throwback because, didn't he make He made the opening day roster out of Erie.
Did he?
Yeah,
in
14.
I remember the 1 year Buck Farmer pitched in every level. I think he skipped over high A. He pitched in low A, double A, triple A in the majors, I want to say.
But Faedo, in that case, that doesn't really count, Michael, only because he was in rehab. He was rehabbing his arm back.
Yeah, I mean, he's technically right, and we'll award him half points.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, we're just talking about guys who prospects who've made that kind of leap this year. And I think, Rod, your point is key. There is that both points that I think are going to want to keep some guys together there for Erie to try to make the playoffs, and also they need base in Toledo. And if you bring Perez up, you still have Lipsius, you've got Kreidler, you've got Clemens possibly. You got all these guys kind of short. Brendan Davis. They need to let things clear up a little bit first, I think.
Yeah, and there's gonna, like I said, I think there's gonna be a makeover of sorts. I want to say makeover, but we'll see some more names that have been in the system for a while I don't want to say weeded out, but they're gonna probably have to move on at some point. Garrett Hill.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Gary Hill. You're right. I totally forgot about that. Brisky too.
I think Brisky started in Toledo.
Yeah, he started in Toledo. I do have one. I thought of one. I'm looking it up right now to see if I'm right, but Where did Eugenio Suarez start out in 14? Yeah, he
He
started.
may have been.
I'm talking modern. I'm talking the last.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Because
okay. I'm sorry.
The Tigers used to, like
aggressive
back in the day, Cameron Maben was in Lakeland and then in Erie for like 10 days, and then they called him up to the big leagues. Like,
Oh, really?
they used to move. As soon as guys got to Double A, they were like, look at your phone, wait for the call. They've been a lot more deliberate over the last 5-6 years with their promotions.
So Brisky was Toledo. He wasn't in Erie. I
Yeah.
thought he was, but I played mistaken on that. But
yeah. So Hill, good call, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was thinking of another guy too, Robbie Weinhardt. That was a guy they pushed through pretty quickly, and that was one of that was a Dave Dombrowski move because they didn't really have anybody, and then he fizzled out pretty quickly. Wentz did start.
I think he started in Toledo.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he did. Brisky started the year in Toledo. Yeah, so Brisky started the year in Toledo. Hill was in Double A.
Yeah. So last year, Brisky was in West Michigan and then jumped up to Erie for like a handful of starts, and then for all intents and purposes, he skipped Double A. I think he only had like 5 starts there, but he didn't, really skip it.
Yeah, as far as positional player wise, I mean, we used to see some players come up from Erie to Detroit, but it has not been like that in the case under Avila.
I don't think Alex Avila ever played. I don't think he played a game at Toledo. I think he went straight from Erie to the big leagues.
He did, well, not before. Like, didn't we send him down like 12?
Yeah, I'm sure he probably afterward went down or had to just rehab or something like that. But yeah, that used to be the way they were. I'm sure the people in Toledo were kind of displeased with that.
Yeah, and again, they're trying to think to keep things together too, not only to have the continue or for just for I can't think of the word right now. Continuity. Thank you, continuity. But also to draw fans for their minor league affiliates, because Toledo and Erie have been vocal in the past about, hey, give us some guys. Let's go. Let's keep, attendance is everything for these minor league teams. And so giving them a competitive product to watch out there, like West Michigan right now with Pacheco and Jung out there, that we'll get to them in just a few minutes here, but it's important. And you want to have that, continue to have people coming through there with all the various theme nights and stuff like that. Like, for example, today they had Latino Day over at the Lugnuts, so Los Lugnuts, and that was really cool. You walk up, they had a bunch of music playing, they had taco truck, I didn't get a chance to get the taco truck, but
I did get nachos though.
Oh yeah, Chris got, by the way, Chris's nachos today. Not to get too off topic, but so imagine this being a plate, okay? This piece of paper covered corner to corner, all nachos, and then maybe, like, I'm not kidding, 3 inches high. It was literally 3 inches high.
It was literally overflowing, and I think this might be like a hints from Heloise tips and tricks that I just learned. Like, we were watching the game when then the rain came, so we went up to the concourse, and while we were waiting there, like, we were like checking the radar, like, all right, this is not coming back. And so after like 5-10 minutes, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get some food. I went and got the nachos, and I think they knew, like, hey, this is gonna get canceled, so we got to get rid of this food, or else we're just gonna waste it. So she gave me, it was like a 4-pound nacho.
Yeah,
and man, yeah, I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, because he was like, all right, we got to eat this upstairs. And
no way I can eat this with my hands anywhere. Yeah, it was.
I wish I would have took a picture of it. I totally did not think of that. But I wasn't gonna post on Instagram or anything like that. But
nobody needs to see my food. But anyway.
So yeah, let's continue on with the other couple of hitters I want to mention in Erie. Quincy Deporte had 2 home runs today, one opposite field, the other one had 5 home runs. He had 5 home runs in the series alone. So he was 7 for 24. So all the 724, 5 of that was home runs. He also, along Parker Meadows, same thing. He was 6 for 21 for the series. He had a home run. Like I mentioned earlier, Winsfield Perez. Engaged Workman, and I like this note. He has struggled for the rest of the series, but he has looking better. 5 for 19, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And the notes here, Chris, about what was it here about
Sawyer Gibson Long?
Yeah,
I called him SGL because I'm not going to say that name every time.
Yeah, SGL. Okay,
That's another start. You can see his debut. We talked about it. 587 strikeouts. I got really strong Tyson Ross, like late stage career Tyson Ross vibes, because Sawyer Gipson-Long he's like a big dude, like 6'5", 6'6". He kind of high waisted, long legs, and it's like a long arm action. But the fastball is not terribly impressive on its own, but it's low 90s. It'll work, I guess. But it's a pretty good slider, and it just gave me feeling of Tyson Ross. I'm like, all right, well, so I don't think he's going to have Tyson Ross's career. Tyson Ross had a higher ceiling, I think, at one point when he was younger. But if he ends up being kind of like Tyson Ross toward the end, when he wasn't constantly getting hurt, he's a viable up and down starter, which is something that they've certainly used this year. So, we kind of made fun of the Tigers, or were disappointed for them for not getting anything of value. And I think they might have gotten something of value for here. So you can see, I don't know if people see the video there, it just kind of that long arm and long legs reminded me of Tyson Ross a little bit.
He has the same like arm kickback too. You see like his
whitewash the Tyson Ross era of the Tigers from their mind, but
which was like 5 seconds. But I like the fact that he releases the ball so late too, in his release point too. That gives him an opportunity. That's why I think that changed the play so well. And
people change it for sure, and the slider works. So yeah, like I said, I think we will see him in Detroit one day, possibly next year. Man, although they're going to add him to the 40-man, so that'll be a close call. But I at first I didn't think they would, but I do think they will now. They got some decisions to make.
By the way, did you notice how many signs were out in right field? Holy crap!
No, I didn't.
No, like
ads.
Like ads. Like let's see if it's we'll go back here for a second. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a phone book right there.
Look at that. Look. Right there. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I lost count. I'm losing count right now.
Because that's for signs.
Yeah. Big blue bug solutions and
Burr signs.
Wow. Yeah.
I have 30.
Yeah, 30. Okay. I was gonna try to count because if we move over a little bit, I'm sure there's a little more in center field too. But yeah. Anyway. All right, that was my ADHD moment there. I just kind of I couldn't help but notice it because they have their version of the Green Monster in left. It's the main monster.
Yeah.
So
the only other notes I had, Naporti, after that 2-home run game, he now leads the Eastern League in home runs and RBIs, 26 home runs, 69 RBIs. But he's probably not going to get the Triple Crown because Ezekiel Tovar, the 20-year-old shortstop for the Rockies, is hitting 318. But Naporti is in top 10 in batting average for qualified hitters. So that's something to celebrate. He is 28. He is 8 years older than Ezekiel Tovar. So let's come down to talk about it. But yeah. And then the last note I had was the Dylan Dingler coaster. I don't know what's going on. It seems it's so up and down. It felt like, and then I looked. Yeah, his home run splits are jarring. He's basically an all-star at UPMC. 270, 352, 478, and he is not good on the road. 205, 316, 351. So who knows what the cause of that is, but maybe he's got all the amenities he needs at home. When he's on the road, his catching gear is cold and or warm. I don't know what the deal is, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Oh, that's good. Some good additions there, especially with Dingler coaster. I like the way you put that together, but yeah, that is strange that the splits are that extreme.
It's like 160 points of OPS, and guys always perform better at home. Not always, but the majority of guys do. But it's usually not that big of a gap.
So let's answer this question real quick before we get to West Michigan. As far as that rotation goes next year in Toledo, I mean, I could take a guess right now off the top of my head that it'll be Bergner. I think we could see Chance Kirby going up there. I mean, he's had a really good year in Erie, so if he stays around, you could give him a spot there. I think there's going to be probably a minor league free agent or two in there in that rotation. And then as far as anybody else, Reese Olson, I think could start the year in AA and then get moved up to AAA, because that was something that I forgot to mention. he did not have another good start. 3 innings, 4 runs, 3 runs, 2 strikeouts, and 3 walks. And lately he's been kind of struggling with command. So
yeah, he's going on like 2 months without a good start, unfortunately.
yeah. And I think he's still a strikeout leader for Erie too.
Yeah, it's bizarre because he's got plenty of strikeouts, not a ton of walks. Although he's been walking more guys lately, but he was just getting hit hard. So,
all right.
But, whenever we have these rotation questions, I always kind of work backward from the big league level. And so I think Detroit next year, Skubal, hopefully he's healthy, right? Eduardo Rodriguez, we're assuming he's going to come back and be fine next year. Turnbull is due to come back, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Turnbull should be back. And then who am I missing? Matt Manning, I assume they're going to want a clear space for him. So then you're looking at someone Brisky or.
I was gonna say I think Garrett Hill might stick around. I mean, whether it be in the rotation or bullpen, I think it's just for injury's sake now. But I think I could see Hill getting some steady starts with the big club.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean toward. I think. And who knows? They're not. They might bring in another veteran too, but I would lean toward like a Manning Brisky at 4-5, just based on the way that they've used him this year. But yeah, I think we're probably going to see a bunch of different guys again. And Hill would be top of the list. Yeah, I think Flores will be in Toledo probably at some point next year. So things can change a lot in the next 6 months. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be another Tommy John injury by the time the beginning of next season starts, and it'll probably be somebody we don't want to have to get it. And there you go.
I almost forget. I tend to forget about Alvin Rodriguez sometimes too, because he's also shown some glimpses. Garrett Hill, he had a really good start yesterday. He was really he generated kind of, I think, 15 swings and misses. It was pretty good stuff for Hill. But again, there's so many. As far as like even the Erie rotation goes, I mean, that's going to be interesting too, because you could even put Brent Hurdler. But yeah, we'll address that as the time comes along. West Michigan taking a series against Lansing. Lansing, again, one of my favorite stadiums. I love going to games there, and it's such a good place to see a game. So Madden was there before he got called up. 5 innings in his last start in high A. 5 innings, 5 runs, and 5 strikeouts. Joey Wentz in a tune-up start, 3 innings, no runs allowed, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Gio Arrieta out of the bullpen with a pair of innings. Brent Hurdler got beat up on Friday. Didn't even last a whole inning. 4 runs on just 2/3 of innings for 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. And on the offensive side, this is where. Okay, so this is the fun part here. One of the things I want to add about a note is Josh Crouch, the prodigy of Chris Brown. But I'm starting to I saw some really good stuff. 7 for 20 for the series, 3 doubles, a home run, and that home run was a blast. 1 walk to 4 strikeouts. And defensively, Chris, you were talking about his kind of like he doesn't really have a lot of side to side movement comparatively speaking to somebody like Cooper Johnson. But you talk about his glove a little bit, because that was something that I thought you made a good point on the way up today.
Yeah, so I mean, this was pointed out to me by Trevor and the scout there, that he's not a great framer. He really jerks his hands towards the center of the plate, like by habit. Even if it's a ball like 2 feet above the zone, he just goes like that. It's super fast. It's not subtle, and I think occasionally it's going to cost pitchers some strikes. But it's also something I think you can work on, right? The framing is something you can get better at. But yeah, I started focusing more. I'm convinced about his bat. I think it's a bat that's going to play at the high minors and will probably get him to the big leagues at one point. So I was kind of focusing more on his defense these last 2 trips, because he's hitting for power. He's hitting the ball all over the field. He's got a good approach. I feel pretty good about that. But yeah, the defense. So he's got a strong arm. But as you mentioned, we used to make jokes about Cooper Johnson, because he would just be sliding left and right behind the plate like an old school, the old exercise equipment that was like trying to simulate speed skating. It was like little slippers that you slide on like a piece of foil.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
he would just move like that. But yeah, Crouch seemed very stationary to the point where he was really he wasn't even sliding that often or like scooting over, he was just trying to glove a lot of stuff, which is not the way you want to be, right? You want to try to block things with your body. And I don't know if that's, it's 95 degrees. He's out there 4 times a week catching. I don't know if he's just tired from the year or what, but it's something he's going to have to improve. And when you see him run, he's not like super flexible at the hips. He's a catcher. He looks like a catcher when he runs, and he kind of looks, he's just a little stiff back there. So I think he's going to have to improve the lateral mobility to block more pitches at higher levels, or else he might not make it. I still think there's a ceiling of a backup catcher there. And I still think, I think us having him in top 15 is fine, because I think a backup catcher could be very valuable for you, especially one who can hit, right? But yeah, like, comparing with someone like Eric Haas is a much better athlete. And so he's going to have to improve a little bit on defense. But I think he's got all the other intangibles. Like I said, the arm, he seems like a team leader. He seems to call a good game for the most part. I don't know if it was him calling back curveballs today. So Armenteros, but
or slider, that slider that just went spin right in there.
But yeah, it's always fun watching him play.
I had a thought on Crouch that actually may seem like his stock might be rising defensively a little bit. It's like I don't know if this is going to be a definitive thing yet, but when we were at the Herder start in West Michigan, he only did it one time. But the one thing I really like seeing him do, and this is something that I guess like younger year catching instructors will teach you to do all the time, is like if you get a pitch on the outside, right, you gotta, instead of reaching your arm out like that to catch it, and what you got to do is push off with your opposite leg, and just make sure if you're going to catch something on the outside, make sure it's in front of you. So make sure it hits you in the chest no matter what. And like I said, I only saw him do it one time when he was catching Herder, but I noticed that he did that, and I'm like, huh. It's like maybe there's might be something there, but yeah,
and I think we've seen it with Dingler too. We've seen Dingler look like a future all-star defensive catcher, but it's catching you're in every single play, and it's like you can't take a single pitch off, really, right? And that's part of it, is when it's just the development process. You got to be 100% in on every single pitch, and that's got to be incredibly hard, right? Like I can't imagine that as a baseball player. So I think that's part of the learning process, and so that's a good point, David. Like he's shown some things that you can probably work with, and he just needs to do it more consistently. But yeah, I mean, we weren't there to see Josh Crouch. I mean, he's always nice to see, but I went up to see Wentz, which was nice. It's fun to see a big league arm pitching to kids in high A, because you get a nice comparison to the pitching you're seeing there, but also to see like these young hitters what they can deal with. Like Max Muncy is legit, because he's going to be good. Denzel Clark is legit. Yeah. So those are 2 really good players for Lansing. But yeah, Wentz largely had his way with these guys. He was using all 3 pitches. He may have even broken out a slow curve. Got swings and misses with his 3 main offerings, and basically just tired. He was sitting 94, 96, and then was down to like 92, 93 in his 3rd inning. So I don't know if he just got tired or whatever. He knew his day was coming to an end, but he seemed healthy. That's the main concern I had.
So Hinch mentioned that on Saturday, that if everything goes well Wednesday, he'll probably get a call up at some point, and he will pitch in Detroit again. So after that last start he had before he had an arm injury, he did really well. He was getting some swing and misses and what have you. And as far as real quick before I forget about the catcher point, when I used to catch on days like this, when it was like 89 degrees in August, when I was playing travel ball, like no matter when you set up your hand and it's hot and sweat, I mean, when you're like, it's sometimes the sweat's dripping on your face. It just, after a while, like framing, especially when I started getting guys who could throw harder and frame the ball, trying to frame the ball to get the strike. I just remember just the difficult challenge of just going, okay, I got this all on my face right now. I can't see anything. And sometimes I would have to almost stab at it, like when it was coming, because I'm like, I couldn't see nothing. When it got really sweaty like that, it sucked. Ooh. But anyway.
And no, it was
yeah. And yeah, exactly. And
it's obviously very difficult, but it is part of the job description, right? Like we saw the one play where there was a wild pitch, right? And I was like, that's a wild pitch, and but also the scout said yes, it is, but he's got to stop that. So I was like, all right, fair enough, yeah.
So one of the notes you mentioned in the outline, David, was Brian Packard, and I looked up his numbers since the end of since July 26th. He's got a WRC plus of 130, and he's been hitting pretty well. He's got his OPS is just under it's about 800 OPS right now, but as far as he's been hitting pretty well, and this is probably the best stretch. Seems like he's healthy. He's batting 314, and if I want to go for the month of July, just for the start of July, I use that more. He's batting 290 since July 9th. So Packard looks like he's healthy. He's been having back issues, and he's been aggressive. He's been aggressive at the plate. I saw him on Friday and yet today. And I don't know. I'm not saying Brian Packard's back or anything, but it's good to see the production in terms of the extra base hits. He had a 3-hit game on game 1, and then he had a home run, and also he had a 2-hit game on Saturday. So there's stuff to be working with, and that's progress. And David, I know Packard is a guy that we've talked about numerous times before, and he's kind of been, again, the injuries don't help him. But what were your thoughts about Packard?
Yeah, I mean, this is something you really like to see, because like I was writing up the outline for the show today, and I was looking through his stats, and I'm like, wow, we haven't been talking about a whole lot of him this year, have we? It's like I'm pretty sure he's come up on a number of occasions, but yeah, it really hasn't been there. It's like I was watching him take swings, and one thing that really came to mind is like, well, a little bit more pop, but I don't know if you guys remember Ben Revere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, pretty quick outfielder. He had a pretty smooth left-handed swing, and that's what it reminded me of. It's a little bit more pop, though. Yeah, it's like I just love seeing him. It's like he's a pretty decent slap hitter. He can go field to field with it. But yeah, it's been nice seeing him take more and more solid swings. He's putting the bat on the ball more, and yeah, it's like it's nice to see, because like I mentioned before, it seems like this guy came out of nowhere. But I know he's my stat sheet here says he's only hitting like just about 270, but yeah, it's like it's nice to see him putting it together like this, and he's a pretty smart base stealer as well. It's like 24 stolen bases, only 3 caught stealings. So yeah, that's my summary on it.
Yeah, he's a guy that, like I said, he started off really good in West Michigan before, and then he was talking about, even during the interview, he was talking about the lack of trying to get to off-speed pitches or breaking balls, but I think he's hitting them better. So that is a sign. But the fact that he's healthy is the most important thing. And what his future holds, I don't know. But it was good to see. And then the reason why we came up there Friday, Jace Young, we got to talk to before the game. I thought he was very composed for being just right out of college. And Izaac Pacheco, and Chris, I want you to do your apology tour about Izaac Pacheco right now. Jokes aside, like it was, I know I you can ask anybody. I was telling Chris, like, Pacheco, man. I watched him down in Lakeland. I thought he was great. I thought he had good bat speed, and in the field he was a little rough, but he got better since when we first saw him on TV. But then like when you see him in person, he's a big kid. But Chris, take it away, because Pacheco, by the way, 3 for 8, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 1 walk to 2 strikeouts. He looked like he just fit in just fine.
Yeah, it reminds me. It's interesting because he's got a good eye. There's patience there, but he's also one of those guys who will swing at the first pitch if it's a pitch that he can hit hard, which is kind of that delicate balance that you want to see, right? Where he's not going to expand the zone too much. He got caught a couple times on some breaking balls below the zone, but yeah, I think if you look at our top 25, I don't know where he's ranked, but I was by far the outlier. I think I had him 15th. Everybody else had him like 8th, because I was worried about his defense. I was worried about how much he'll hit, and I thought he was going to have to move to first base. And I still think he might have to move to first base, but I don't think it'd be an issue, because I think he might get to the big leagues before he turns 22. He's much more advanced as a hitter than I was expecting.
Good.
Yeah, and he was smooth on the field. He didn't get super challenged, but he had a really nice play where he caught a short hop and turned a double play. He made solid, accurate throws from third base on like all of his chances. We didn't really get to see him, challenge on like trying to charge in and bare hand or anything like that, anything crazy. But all the routine plays are there. He seems like a quality athlete. He's not slow, like he's not a burner or anything like that, but he's not like a catcher running around. So yeah, and then just his feel to hit was really advanced for a 19-year-old, a kid who doesn't turn 20 until November. And the funny thing is today, we mentioned that scout a bunch of times, and we said, hey, we went there today. Denzel Clark wasn't in the lineup, the center fielder for Lansing, and Pacheco wasn't in the lineup. He's like, oh, it's perfect. I already had my write-ups done on them. He's writing up everybody. He said the thing he said is the really good players are the easiest ones to write up. So basically, you take it from that those are the two best players. And he saw Pacheco for 2 games. He saw Clark for like 5. So that tells you what he thinks. Yeah, he was just incredibly impressive in every aspect. And so, yeah, I was way low on him. If and when we re-rank in the offseason, he's going to probably be in my top 5 in the system.
He's currently, by the way, number 11, by the way.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% my fault because I had 15, and I think you guys all had 8 or 7. So, yeah, my apologies to Pacheco. I doubted him, and he proved me wrong. So that's good to see. I'm cool with that.
I want to mention the single because this is something. Let's talk about a single here for a second because the way he positioned his hands compared to the home run. We'll show the home run too, but let's look at the single real quick here. Just flattens out the swing enough and knew exactly how to position that barrel there. I thought that was a really good example of that because then we go to his home run real quick because I want to pull up the home run because this right here was I watched this when you post this because I'm doing the Lou Whitaker ceremony and it was around the time and I'm just like look down, I'm like, whew.
Yeah, I sent you guys a message like almost immediately. I wanted to post it first, and I sent you a message to make sure you saw it because
he knew let's look at it. Let's just slow it down a little bit.
He knew it when he hit it.
Look at his.
I mean, look where the pitch was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he got all of that. But yeah, and so later in the game, he nearly went to the opposite field for a home run again. He was about 5-10 feet short, and it was just like, yeah, he's hitting all over the place. And
can you do me a favor and go back to the single for me real quick?
Yeah, give me a second. I wanted to show the opposite field here.
Off a lefty.
Yeah, and look at here's the thing. Barely gets and he gets it. How he drops his hands in there so quick. A little film study here if you're watching us on YouTube. So if you're listening to us podcast wise, we'll definitely yeah. Go ahead, David.
No, you stole the words right out of my mouth. It's like you see how quiet his hands are. It's like usually you get a lot of guys that like, especially if they hold the bat low on their shoulders, like you notice that like there's a little something there, like they either drop it back, like hitting coaches always tell you like knob towards the catcher. It's like there's all those idiosyncrasies, but yeah, you see him right there. It's like, yeah, just like he's not doing a whole lot, and that's all you need. It's like less is more in this video right here. It's like
he kind of almost like he felt like he was choking up a little, not choking up, but just able to drop his hands enough to where the swing looked a little different than it did for the home run.
It's like even for I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris, but like even for shooting it to the other field, it's like you can see that he was right on it. It's like it looked like it met the sweet spot perfectly. It's like, yeah, I like that.
And no, as you say, and we were there, so we saw him, and we could confirm that he's an enormous kid, 6'4", giant, and the voice of somebody whose face has been hidden to protect his identity, he does
sound like it doesn't sound like a 19-year-old. And then Dan Hasty mentioned how his golf. Yeah. He just learned how to golf, but he golfs left-handed.
Right-handed,
so it doesn't mess up his swing. That's how conscious this guy is. And guys, he's 19 years old. It is important to remember that because here's the thing. On a level, let's be level here. Comparatively speaking to the Dodger system, Tiger system is still light years away from that. But the fact that the Tigers have under 21 prospects is a good sign. Whether it's going to be, to me, I haven't seen this in in my lifetime. I mean, and since I started paying attention to minor league baseball, the Tigers never really had. It's usually a college bat or somebody's got some polish already, but to have a couple. You talk about compost and everything, but Pacheco, by the way, was the other shortstop that was picked up, and quietly could make you forget about Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you saw it. It's like, I guarantee you, every single Tigers fan in Michigan wasn't going to know who in the H Izaac Pacheco was when we took him. So like, if your name wasn't Jordan Lawler or Marcelo Meyer in the 2021 draft, nobody honestly gave a F what shortstop we drafted. But yeah, it's like I remember in the draft I was watching video on Pacheco and we're like, you know what? It's like, as far as left-handed hitting shortstops go, it's like he honestly doesn't look bad. It's like I noticed it's like hitters will occasionally put their batting cage videos on their Twitter, social media, and stuff like that. It's like I watched one video of Pacheco taking swings in a cage in like a baseball facility, and like, you know what? I like what I see here. It's like you usually see a guy in a cage like usually hack at a ball or something like that, and just like it just goes wayward. But no, he's just hitting all of them on the button, and that's what I liked.
By the way, just for everybody out there who always talks crap every time Joe pitches and posts Meyer stats, I see less than that now. Meyer is also in low A. He hasn't been moved up.
Hasn't been promoted yet. His numbers are great, but no, it's I don't know. Like last year was such an incredible crop of high school infielders that everyone talks about Meyer and like you said, Lawler. Brady House was a big name. He's been hurt for most of the year. Khalil Watson had kind of been really rough for him. But we saw Max Muncy. He was a top 30 pick last year.'s got 19 home runs this year. He murdered a ball last night. Just destroyed it off Jared Toby. He looks really good. He's not a shortstop. Neither is Pacheco. But the bats are going to play. Carson Williams is off to a great start. So, yeah, Jackson Merrill, I just go on and on. There's like a dozen dudes.
So Meyer, well, I was going to say the number. We had a question about Meyer's numbers. He's batting .287 with 25 doubles, 9 home runs on the season. David, go ahead while I look up Izaac Pacheco's numbers.
I was going to say, Chris, you mentioned earlier that you think he could be a decent fit for first base, but one thing I liked is honestly, I think shortstop is slowly becoming a dream at this point. Like, I think he can certainly make he can make the plays at shortstop that he needs to make. But like, honestly, it's like I watched can't remember where I watched it at, but I watched a video of him at third base, and like, it's of course he looks a little clunky, but I mean, being 6'4", it's like you're gonna look like that no matter where you play. But yeah, it's like just it really carried his hands really well in fielding ground balls. It's like just looked smooth. It's like the throwing mechanics were solid. It's like I could see him sticking at third base maybe.
Yeah, I think he has the tools to do it. My main concern was I think he's going to get too big probably by the time he's like 24, 25, but I think they may get 3 solid years at the big leagues out of him before that happens. So I'd be totally fine with it. Like, he's got room to add a lot of mass to his chest, his upper body.
Really?
And he might get enormous and like hit 40 home runs in the big leagues one day. So, I'll take it. I don't care if he's playing first if he does that.
It's going to look like Tyler O'Neill.
I don't think he's going to get cut like that. He's going to be more like, I'm always comparing him to Jim Thome.
Yeah, I was just going to say Jim Thome started off in third base in the minor leagues, and he ended up just fine. So right now, Pacheco on the season, Meyer was 62 games, Pacheco at 90 games, 10 home runs, batting .269, nice, with 39 walks, 82 strikeouts. So he's got a walk rate of just over 10%, K rate of 21%. His ISO is 163, and it's got a WRC plus of 122. So Pacheco,
just sorry to interrupt, but like every Monday, at least in our private chats, I've been keeping track of all these young guys, all the young pitchers and all the young infielders, and then I've added in a couple Tigers infielders too.
Dedication, folks.
To have information for when people still continue to complain. So if you want to hop in the Discord tomorrow, I will post that, and you can compare all these young shortstops. So just letting people know.
Yeah, I'm going to create an invite right now. So if you're in the YouTube channel, you're not part of the Discord, I will do that right now. I'll also put that in the show notes for tomorrow. So this is our Discord. If you're in the YouTube chat, it's right there. If you want to join the Tiger Minor League chat part. So, and don't worry, it's not like Twitter where you get if you're going to be a troll and be an asshole, you're out. It's as simple as that. It's just talking baseball and some good stuff. But no, like I said, for every fan, for every time that there's when Job would have a bad stat line, you without looking at the body of work, it just drives me nuts. It just calm down. Seriously, calm down.
It's like yelling at a lump of clay for not being a statue. Like,
yeah,
like, come on, let's take some time, guys.
Do something. Let me look at the box score. Sorry, I can't look. Okay, not everybody's going to dedicate ourselves to the minor leagues like we do and blah, blah, blah. I don't expect people to. I understand that. But calm down. Do not just look at a box score and just lose your crap. And anyway.
Before we move down to Lakeland, I just wanted to, we saw Jace Young for one full game and then like half a game today, right? The game was rained out in the 5th inning. And it just, like, he didn't look great to me. He's very slow running to first base. I don't know if that's just going to be what he is, or he's still dealing with some hip stuff. But it's also his first 2 games since June 5th, so I'm not going to judge him one way or the other. Like I feel like Pacheco's been playing all year. He's like 85 games into the season, and Jung's had 6 weeks off or so. So yeah. I'm not going to worry about it. I think he's going to figure it out. I'll just say, like, I think if the first ball he hit was a grounder between first and second, right? That the second baseman made a diving stop and was able to throw him out because it was like a 4-7 to first base or 4-6. And then second one was a double play right up the middle. I think, in the days before shifting it all, it probably would have gotten through. He hit it right over the bag. And then everything since then has been kind of weakly hit to left field or foul, like he's late on everything. I don't think he is late on everything. I think maybe his general approach is to try to work like left center to center. And he was just trying to get his swing. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep an eye on him for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully he'll start making some hard contact. But we didn't see anything of note one way or the other, really.
Yeah, I didn't think he looked overwhelmed either. I thought he if there's one thing I would take away, he looked like he belonged there. It's just maybe some rust. That's really about, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he's looking like this in 6 weeks, then go, I'll be a start in West Michigan again, but whatever.
Yeah. And Lansing has a couple of good pitching prospects too, but I think next series, who do they play next series? I'll have to look that up.
Let's go ahead and take a look.
Look at that. So
West Michigan, I think is it Dayton?
They're at home. They're at home for. They go back home though. That's all I know.
Yeah, sneezes. Beloit.
Beloit.
They are off to Beloit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dan mentioned that earlier. They have that's right. They're not home for another week. They're still on the road.
Beloit is Sky Carp, right?
Yep, Sky Carp. That's the Miami Marlins affiliate. They have some sweet jerseys too. So the Flying Tigers beat Dunedin, and Dunedin's a really good team too. They got some really good talent down there. I think a lot of them has graduated to the high A, but either way, the Lakeland offense came out pretty well. The Eduardo Rodriguez, as David put in here, but let's just clear that up. That's an Ohio State thing, and that's not allowed in this. I'm joking. I don't really care. But he was in rehab. 3 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Expect him to be back here in the next week or two in Detroit. So, based off his rehab start, Dylan Smith, we had a question about him earlier, whether he's going to be back at West Michigan. I'm assuming he will be here in the next week or two. There's not been, everything seems to be on the up and up on him. 3 innings, no runs. Jackson Jobe, one of his best starts, 5 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. And Carlos Pena, not to be confused with the former first baseman. You guys know who. Yeah, anyway. He's 5'11", 6 innings, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's kind of have a pinpoint control kind of guy. So in terms of the offensive front, Peyton Graham got his first he went 2 for 7, got his first hit. He's on Friday, which we got thanks to Terry. And then today, we'll get to Danny here in a second. That's all Chris right there. Roberto Campos with a 2-hit game in game 2. He had a pair of doubles. Manuel Sequeira also had a really good week. And so as far as Lakeland's goes, they have a couple of new bats, new faces down there. And for the Chris Bits, I almost said Blitz. So as far as the bits go, Danny Soretti, man, it's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 2 games, right? But
right.
He's their 6th rounder. 6th rounder, and what are the numbers here? Let me see. 3 for 5, double home run, 4 walks, no strikeouts in 2 games. So that's my opinion that the Florida State League is probably not much of a match for a kid who started for 4 years in the ACC. He's probably ready for high A. There just might not be room for him. So that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I do like your note about Santana, just 1 for 12 with a walk and 5 strikeouts. That here's the thing: a lot of the international free agent signings, a lot of Latin kids still haven't been up to West Michigan at all.
Yeah, and Santana has arguably been the better hitter than Pacheco, at least from results over the last 2 months, right? But I think we talked about it on the last show, right? Or maybe it was just on the there's more to it for some of the international kids than just baseball, right? It's Jung and Pacheco were able to room together, and you could probably wander around Lansing and figure some stuff out. And it's it's harder for kids. You're probably staying with a host family, and just there's more to it. So that's all I'll say. And who knows there's no rush with Santana, man. He's not even 19 yet. So but he did have a great week. So that was just me reckless speculation that maybe he was bummed out that he didn't get promoted, so he wasn't necessarily 100% focused.
Yeah, his walks have been up too in the last month or so too. So he's walking at a higher clip now than he was in the beginning of the season. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if there's a big culture adjustment going from majority of half your team speaking Spanish to going up to West Michigan. There's a few. You have your manager speaking Spanish and a few others, but that's really about it. So there's a big difference in culture.
Yeah, for me, it's more away from baseball is the issue, right?
Right.
I would be totally fine with Carlos Pena or Carlos what's his name? Not Carlos Pena. You just mentioned him.
Brian Pena.
Brian Pena. Yeah, sorry, Brian Pena. Mentoring these kids and making sure they don't get in trouble or whatever. But they're 18-year-olds. He's got to manage 25, 28 kids or whatever. He can't be around them at all times. So at least when they're down in Lakeland, they're kind of there on the campus and everything's a little bit more controlled. They're probably getting courses in English and stuff like that too that might not necessarily work when they're in West Michigan, but we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe they'll get promoted this week.
Yeah. As far as the other stuff, Andrew Jenkins, another draft pick from this year, 2 for 5 with a double, and then Chris's guy, Raylan Perez, which was mentioned earlier in the chat, 6 for 17, two doubles, or a double, home run, and 2 walks, and yeah, he's still doing his thing in the Dominican Summer League.
Yeah, 100% based on stats. No idea if he's any good, but stats are good, so I'm going to keep an eye on him.
You'd love to see some video, but it's not happening.
There are videos of him on YouTube, but his name is spelled differently. So and that's always confusing to me. It's like Railin instead of Reylin. So it's like, all right, what happened here? But,
yeah, we only know what he looks like, which is a skinny kid. That's all we know. 5'11", 160, and that's it. That's all we know about him outside of the.
But we also know that those numbers are always wrong too. By the time, we could go through and look at some guys who are listed at 5'11", 160, and they're 6'4", 250 now. It's like, what in the world? Why haven't you updated this?
Yeah, they could be short. They could be shorter people. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be a lot of things. So, yes. There's the staff in terms of staff wise, it could be shorthanded. Although we learned today, what was funny watching one of the guys at West Michigan run around taking all the cameras out in the rain, and
We got to get him an umbrella.
Yeah, I felt bad because then he had these really nice shoes, and I thought it was the socks originally, but they were just soaking wet. So his entire shoe. But yeah, anyway.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you want to
pay for us to get down to Lakeland or down to the DSL, yeah.
Yeah, Patreon right here. Look, if you literally, let me just explain. I know I put 2 tiers in Patreon. I might just put 1. But simply put, all the gear you see. So let's see.
I will say, while we're waiting, in the interest of honesty, you could send us down to the DSL or the Dominican, but we won't be able to play or watch the games. They are all behind, literally in compounds with like armed guards. You can't go.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, these are rich young players, and they got to protect them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't just go down there and be a fan and watch Dominican Summer League for the most part. You can go down there for Dominican Winter League and have a ball. That's all open to the public, but the Summer League, the complex games are not available for the average bum like us. Now, maybe one day if the Tigers actually liked us, they could send us down there, but we just have to ask really nicely.
I'm checking out one of the sorry to cut you off, Chris. I was saying I'm checking out one of these wayward videos that you're saying that you found on YouTube. Couple things I noticed at first is I don't know if he's played any other positions in DSL aside from shortstop.
He's played some second.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he looks more like a second baseman because like you see him fielding ground balls. It's like I don't know if this is just his mechanics or just his thing, but like it looks like he's fielding a lot of the ground balls late. Mm-hmm. It's like you're normally when you look at normal fielders playing shortstop, it's like you're fielding it in between the legs and you're getting out in front of the ball, right? You normally want it to be in your glove before it hits your shoes, like the toes of your shoes. It's like when you look at him fielding ground balls, it almost looks like he's getting it like right in the middle of his feet and like off to his side. I don't know if that's just his thing, but like I don't know, maybe second base could be a spot for him. But yeah, it's like he looks like he's got a pretty good throw across the diamond. But yeah, that's my.
I have to acknowledge that it's entirely possible that this is a different person because the name is different. But one of the videos is from 2019. The other one is from December of 2021. So.
By the way, this mic right here, deals.
What do you
scouring the internet? This board you hear right now. Yes, that's also Patreon. So this lens I've used, and you see in some of the shots that are on the website. Normally retail was like $1,200, but somebody on eBay didn't know what they had and sold this for $250, $300. Because of a bargain shop. Yeah, because I mean, for my day job, I'm in marketing, and I like to make this my full-time job. I think Chris would like to make this his job. I think David would like to make this job.
Absolutely.
So look,
We sure that they didn't know what they had, and it's not actually cursed, and they've like pawned off this curse on you?
No, because I think some good pictures with them. So
they're cursed pictures. Everyone you've taken a picture of has died.
This is not. By the way, Stop It is absolutely dead on about that. There was a series of Americans a few years ago that died going to the bars. They drank something and died.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of like resorts you can go to in the Dominican and stuff like that. And if you have like somebody trustworthy to take you around, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick out like a sore thumb down there, sure. So.
Well, I mean, but then again, also, I want Chris to go to Lakeland. I've been going to Lakeland by myself. So I've been going with Kean of Tiger Minor League Tracker, thanks to his hospitality. But next year, I want to go to Lakeland for spring training. I have not been there for spring training yet. Like I said, everything the Patreon goes back into funding the website, put gas in the car, all that stuff. And again, we do this. I know a lot of people know we do this for the kindness in our hearts. And we like the minor leagues and yada, yada. But I'm telling you, every once in a while, I'm not gonna lie, it would be nice to have a Patreon at least over $100 a month. That'd be nice. So that way, it just goes back into what we're doing. I know the Reds minor league report. That guy does this job full time, and he has a pretty good Patreon. So, and again, minor league talk.
How good the Reds are.
Yeah, And look, I might have lost a couple listeners talking about that, but look, it goes a long way. That's all. Anyway, enough about that. Was there anything else before we end the podcast this week that stood out to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and keep it quick, but I had a thought about Jackson Jobe, and this is a positive one. I want to point out. It's I was watching it was his last start from our last show. I think what was it? I think it was like 4 innings, 5 runs. He struck out 7 or something like that. The one thing that really impressed me about it is like watching him pitch in the later innings in that start is that he carried himself on the mound really good. It's like you're watching him and it's like those latter strikeouts. It's like you kept watching the scoreboard climb up and up for was it like the Pirates single A squad, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like is after every strikeout, you didn't like see any look of disgust on him. And I don't know if this could be just like putting it in a closet and he's gonna like punch something in the locker room later. But yeah, no, it's like I honestly think it's like I think he's got some metal in him. It's like I think he has like he has the willingness to like work on it and it's like really just push for it. And that's I think that some of his efforts are finally being recognized today. The baseball gods are smiling upon him. It's nice to see that because I think this is a dude that has desperately needed a win, literally and metaphorically, since the league started, since he got in the league. But yeah, it's honestly, I just like the mannerisms and I like how he got rewarded.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's one thing that we've joked about is that, and Raj talked about it earlier, where if we just post the stats, everybody yells, and then we post a video, and like 90% of the comments were like, "Oh man, he looks great." I mean, we still had a couple pitching coaches out there talking about how he opens up early and like, oh, he's going to have Tommy John. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's a pitcher, so he's going to get injured because that's what happens. But no, I mean, well, he does have a funny face on his minor league page. Every pitcher does, though, I think. But
yeah, the pitcher face like the
but
the favorite one like the. Or this is my favorite one. It's like the.
Yeah, there's Alec Hampton used to he'd scream basically every time he pitched, so he'd have his tongue out in his face like he was being stabbed. But no, to your point, David, like I watched that start too, and I made a little video about it because there was one particular inning that was just a disaster. It was just a nightmare of bad base running and bad umpire calls and bad fielding.
Oh yeah,
and he channeled that into 2 of his better pitches of the day. Like I was like, that's sort of stuff that I like to see, where you're not getting frustrated, you're using that to kind of hone your focus, which is a big thing. And that's, again, it's tough to know for sure. We're just watching, but it felt like that to me. And I don't think you get picked 3rd overall if they don't 100% believe in your makeup. I mean, it happens sometimes where guys aren't that great, but I think they probably fell in love with him as a person and as a competitor. And that's a big of reason why they took him 3rd as his pure stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping that he can, continue through the season and finish strong and maybe get promoted next year. Maybe we'll see him in West Michigan next year. It wouldn't shock me if he repeats in Lakeland to start the year, just because his numbers aren't, spectacular this year, and he probably still has a lot to learn. But I'd sometimes guys take big leaps, and it would be cool to see him in West Michigan for sure.
Yeah. There's like I said, there's been this school of thought that the Tigers are not aggressive enough with their assignments, but I think this year we're starting to see that on the pitching side of things. We see a lot more movement on the pitching side. In terms of positional players, not so much, but again, I think that may change. We'll see. I don't. Again, depends on what happens during the next couple months. I still believe this is just a rational thought, kind of built up based off what I've seen so far. There's 2 schools of thought going on. There's the old school and the new school, based off some of the numbers we've seen with Winfield Perez, for example, and Andre Lipsius. There's been some work on their stuff, but I think there's still a level of disconnect that we can go into one of these days, but one day, but not today. Yeah.
You're going to bring in a new development staff, and they didn't completely clean house. They did in some places, and they replaced some guys, but you're not always going to have everybody pulling in the same direction, and it's just the way it goes.
change behavior takes time, or behavior changes take time, and it's still a process, but it's a process that has been fruitful recently. So Jeff, by the way, R1 versus JF or J4, J4 mentioned Jeff Weaver was another one who jumped. Yeah, there are a lot of, like I said, but during the Alavila era, it has been very rare where you see Erie straight to the majors, if at all. If I'll talk about it, I could be wrong. I don't know, but we're wrapping up the show now, and so the off day is tomorrow, so come check out the podcast if you have not. Check out last week's podcast. We're gonna put that on the website. And for all, again, working on the profiles the next couple days. Hopefully those are out. The top 25 list is there. So go to TigerMLReport.com and check out. There'll be a write-up on Pacheco and Jung for tomorrow. Probably some input from Chris. And if you have not subscribed to our Discord channel, I will also put that description. I'm going to put an invite in there again in the YouTube chat just in case you missed it the first time. And we just talk minor leagues in there. We also have the Tiger minor league chat, or excuse me, the Tiger one too. And somebody can definitely point that out too. So go to our Discord, Tiger minor league chat. We're talking all the time. So if we're at a game, we also put some stuff in there while we're at the game. So we tend to sometimes post some video in there before it goes out to Twitter or Facebook. I've been getting better about activating our Facebook and Instagram too. So, but thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions or feedback, let us know. And we'll be back next week for another recap. This week, by the way, Chris and I will be out at Toledo twice this week, Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday when Joey Wentz is pitching, a rehab start on Wednesday, and Austin Werner, I think, is scheduled based off his rotation turn, will be pitching on Friday. We haven't been to Toledo a while. It's been long overdue, and we'll be hitting up Toledo this week. And then next week, folks, actually, you know what? I just thought about it. I forgot. Next Sunday, it'll be you two because I will be on vacation. So I'm actually taking a vacation. Now, vacation in quotes, aka from Sunday to Thursday, I'll not be around, but you know me. I cannot stop working. So I'll be doing some stuff for Woodward Tigers. But as far as I'll be down in Indiana with my family as we're going to some sort of glam camp thing. I'll be staying in the cabin, so Wi-Fi will be hit or miss. So it'll be up to you two to carry the torch for next week because I will not be here. So I will be out of town, and I'll be back on the 17th. But I'll be, again, knowing me, I'll probably check in the Discord. Hey, guys, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Knowing me, I can't stay away, but I will be. There's a couple days off. It'll be good to have some rest time and get as burnt as David did on his neck. Look at David's neck. Look at that. Holy crap. Look at that. You're oh, man, that's farmer's tan. Look at this. Look at this farmer's tan right here. Look at my arms right here. And then you go to my
yeah. It's something here. Yeah.
I just get the regular tan.
All right, no more tan showing. Good night, Chris. Everybody on the YouTube chat. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We'll be, again, these guys will be back next week. Have a good week, everybody.